puppies.
What's going on, guys? Back today, another video, another day, all that fun stuff. I like doing YouTube. I should sound less enthused? More enthused. I should sound more enthused. That's what I was looking for. I got a new thing to show you guys, which is coming in a second. But first, actually, no. What I got to show you is I found this drink, and it's sparkling ice plus caffeine, blue raspberry. I don't know if it's any good. We're gonna try it real quick because it looked interesting, and I like trying things like drinks. Smells like a blue raspberry icy from like 7-Eleven or whatever your equivalent is. Basically tastes like one. It's a little weird. Tastes like one that's not frozen. Anyway, so with that being said, I'll actually drink that. It's not bad. My eye, yeah, it's got blood in it. It happens. I was working on something the other day. I was pulling the diff out of a car the other day. Actually, the car I got, which we'll get to that in a second. I was pulling the diff out of the car the other day, and I think I got junk in it, or it was when I strained to move that big table that I built the other video. Probably like 2 months ago. I don't even know. It's been in my garage for forever. Anyway, finally pulled it out, finally put some stain on it, moved it to the backyard with the help of Dalton, which was super nice of him. Thanks, Dalton. If you watch this, I don't know if you actually watch my videos or not, but thanks, Dalton. Cleared it out of the way, and the Miata is in very, very sad shape, as we can kind of see. Sorry. I'm trying not to show you what's on the other side of the Miata and the other spot on the engine bay, or not engine bay, but garage side. Let's walk over to it now. So anyway, if you guys watched my before video, you probably heard that I was talking about putting my old motor right here, which was my ITB turbo motor, into a different chassis, because, you know, that's mostly where I had all my money invested. So anyway, the guy I picked up the Turbo 2 Rx-7 transmission from actually happened to also have a Turbo 2 Rx-7 sitting there that was kind of missing a motor. So putting one and one together, we started talking and we made a deal, and here she is. It is a 1987, so S4, if you guys don't know your RX-7s, S4 RX-7, so that means it was pre-facelift model or whatever it was, so it didn't have the cool taillights from the factory, but on the plus side, it's got the cool taillights on it, because he already had them on there, because he was baller. Anyway, picked this up for a pretty good price. Here is the new car, like I was saying. This is a 1987 Mazda Rx-7 Turbo 2. It looks like it's in really rough shape because it is in kind of rough shape, but almost all of the important stuff is there that we need. So it's got all of the front suspension, all the rear suspension stuff in it. I have a differential already for it, and I have the transmission, I've got the motor. I even got, the other day, our fancy schmancy, sorry, I already looked at it, guys, adapter plate from Maverick Motorsports. So shout out to those guys. Really pretty quick shipping on that one. Pretty reasonable cost on it too. With it, he also gave me this nice Cork Sport catback. I believe it's 3-inch stainless steel. So that's super rad. And it actually fits the car and everything. So I'll probably make use of that. So I'll actually have like a nicer exhaust. So I basically just need to fabricate something from the downpipe over to the flanges up here. So not such a big deal, which is kind of cool. And I'd open this garage door so we have more room if it wasn't raining. There's a few interior pieces with it, like a dash, freaking some center console bits up there. Like I said, there's no engine in there. I popped the hood, but it's not really attached all the way. I know it doesn't have a Turbo 2 hood. He actually kept the Turbo 2 hood for his car because he actually had 2 of these, which is fine because I was planning to vent the hood and do a certain kind of setup that requires a vent in the hood rather than a intake on the hood, which the Turbo 2 hood has the intake on it. And while the Turbo 2 hoods look super cool and I'm into them, it's not functional for what I plan to do in the engine bay of this car. You guys are welcome to take guesses down in the comments down below. Anyway, and while you're down there, remember to like, comment, subscribe. It always helps out the channel. So as we continue our wonderful tour of this car, we can take a look at the interior. As we noticed, it's pretty well gutted, pretty gross in here. There's a Crunch Bar wrapper right there. We got some men's deodorant. So of course we have to do the archaeology find of this car one of these days. Right now it's raining outside, and the first step I really want to do is just push this thing out and just clean it, because I don't know the last time it was cleaned, because it's just kind of gross. He gave me this wonderful molding seats, because that's a whole bunch of mold right there, super gross. There's 2 of them in here, you know. Let's see if we can move this out of the way. Anyway, it's wedged in here. We can't currently open up the trunk setup. There's a spare tire back there. Yeah, so there's basically not much there. And that's okay. So originally, I built my Miata with the intention of it being a dual duty street car, or mostly street car with part-time track duty in mind. And it ended up being mostly a track car with part-time street duty. Is the reality of what the build went. So I think with this next build, I have a feeling that I'll probably continue treating the cars the same, or this car the same way I did with the Miata, where it is a track car mostly, and maybe a street car once in a while. So I intend to basically leave this gutted. There's no point in putting an interior into it if it's going to play mostly full-time track car. So I'm going to build this like it's a full-time track car. I might title it and register it so I can drive it on the street once in a while for, like, you know, maybe to take it to a car show, or, you know, like a Cars and Coffee at some point, or something kind of fun like that, like a little meet. So it's also kind of cool because it's got 5 lugs. It's got the 5-lug hubs, and it's got the big brakes on it too. So if you guys didn't know, on FCs there's 4-lug hubs, and then there's also smaller brake setups on them. So one of the things I really wanted to do was move over to a 5x114 lug setup, because I think there's so many better wheel options in that style of lug pattern rather than a 4x100, because you're really limited at bigger sizes. And Rx-7s look kind of goofy on small wheels, even though they come on 15s from the factory. The other thing I really wanted in an Rx-7, and this was like a must-have because I didn't want to cut a hole in my roof, was really wanted to get a moonroof for it. This one happens to have one, so that's a win-win. I'm not really worried about the seals because I'll probably remove the mechanism from it and find a way to just like quick mount it and quick detach it from like the interior, or even from up above, so I can take the top off. Because like the one nice thing about the Miata was like if you were doing a track day or something like that and it's really hot out, you could take the top off and let some of the air out of the cabin. And I didn't want to get a slick top for that reason, is I wanted to be able to let the air out of the cabin a little bit more. And I don't know, just kind of like sunroof cars on like little sports cars. I think they're kind of cool. So with that being said, I've got a ton of plans. I'm not gonna really do anything in this video. This is more of just an update video of like where I've been, what's been going on, you know, the state of the like everything. And yeah, so I'm kind of just doing like just a quick video for you guys. So anyway, I'm super hyped on it. I don't know what else to say. I guess like next steps is like wheel this out, get it cleaned up, get it all cleaned out. I've gone ahead and ordered a couple other things that I need for the swap, which like they're in the mail en route now. The next stuff that I'm gonna have to order is piping, probably, to do a motor mount setup, which I'm gonna give it a shot and try to weld it myself, and I'll take that risk. I don't know if it's gonna turn out good. I am by no means a good welder, but you know what? There's only one way to learn, and that's by practical application and doing. So I've never really had a lot of reasons to learn how to weld, but I'm gonna take it upon myself to teach myself some welding skills for this car, because it's custom built. Like, want to make this one like the next level. So after we get the motor in and get everything all like positioned in there, probably pull the motor back out, sand the whole car down, paint it, maybe do some sort of exterior styling, hint hint. I've always wanted a car that looks cool, but I've never had a car that looked cool. Like my Miata was kind of cool, but it was also stock body, and like never had a body kit, never did paint, never really did any sort of visual mods to it other than like a front lip and like some like cool wheels on it, which like for Miatas it works, but it could just be better. Like I've always wanted something with a cool body kit. I feel like it's almost a rite of passage in the car world, is like you got to put a cool body kit on the car and paint it or wrap it or something to just make it different. I am gonna change the setup. I'm gonna do an oil cooling setup, and I wanna put power steering in this car. It actually has a manual rack in it, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll just have to trade for one or just find one, which it's not a big deal. We can go ahead and put it in. I feel like that's a pretty minimal concern when it comes to finding a good shell, you know? Past that, of course, we're gonna refresh the suspension, coils, update the bushings on the car, maybe do some adjustable stuff while we're dealing with the back end, because the back end of these cars is kind of not my favorite to deal with. It's very new to me, so it's a little confusing to me still, and I'm still learning about it as I go, so I'm happy to teach you guys about it and the things that I learn about it as I go along. I know for these cars there's DTSS, which is their version of rear steering, so as you corner, the rear wheels kind of toe in or toe out depending on how you're leaning. So it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of not good for drifting, and I know that it's good to just do all the bushings, so we'll probably drop the rear subframe, do all the bushings, maybe change out all the arms for adjustable arms to make alignment a little easier in the rear, and later on we'll address the front and do an angle kit of some sort on it. Hydro, all the fun normal drift bits that you see in every other drift car ever, because this is probably going to be my next project. Well, it is my next project, let's be real, and I want to make a drift car, like a dope drift car. I want to join the rolling car show. I want to have a car that looks cool, drives cool, like can make lots of smoke, and it's kind of unique. I've seen a couple others out there with Miata motors in them. The main reason for keeping this and not doing like a JZ or an LS or even a 13B in this car is just simply because I have the motor. It's a very cheap motor. To build the motor, it's not very expensive. It's actually less expensive to build this motor than it is to buy a 13B just by itself. So with all those things being said, I feel like this is probably my most cost-effective option, because I am by no means a rich person. I'm not Rob Dom over here, although I don't know that he's rich either. But go Rob Dom, shout out to you. You build some cool stuff. I'm not hating, just jealous of the stuff you're able to build, because I don't have the funds for it. Past that, we're gonna clean up the motor a little bit. I want to clean it. I want to change the lines and the hoses and just repair and fix up a few things on the motor that I know could be better. I've got a wiring harness from the Miata I got to go through. We're going to probably try and make it work in this chassis first off, and if we can't get it, then maybe we'll try to build a custom harness and change up the ECU setup, because I'm just going to try to reuse the ECU from the Miata, even though it is a plug and play for the chassis. I did pull the chassis harness out, so I do have that ready to go. Just need to simplify it a little bit and remove all the stuff that I'm not going to be using in the chassis or the harness anymore. Stuff like APS, there's all the factory sensors and stuff like that. I think the wiring's still in the harness for it that I just kind of cut off and I just didn't use. But yeah, anyway, there's a long build list behind it, and it's going to be a long project, but I felt it was the best thing to do for you guys just as much as it is for me. It's a ton of great content for you, and it's kind of the next step for me, where it's like, this is all the stuff I've never been able to do. I've been able to tinker. I put a turbo kit on a Miata. I did the ITBs on the Miata. I tuned the Miata, like I tuned it myself before I did ITBs on it. And I even got a pretty reasonable up and running tune on it when I first put the ITBs on it. But I have a lot to learn, and I have a lot more to learn, and I want to keep pushing myself, and I feel like this is the next step, like I've said. So I feel like I've rambled a lot for this video already. It's probably going to be a pretty short video, mostly just me talking, actually all just me talking. Thanks for watching, guys. Wait for that next one. It's coming. It's coming. I haven't quit. It's coming. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. These are off script, by the way. Yeah, that's it for this video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.